Imagine a world where every move you make is monitored, every word you say is scrutinized, and escaping feels like a mission impossible from one of Tom Cruise's spy movies. That was the reality for Katie Holmes, who was super lucky to have escaped from Tom Cruise and the manipulating grip of Scientology. And yes, it wasn't a divorce, it was a prison break, as she literally escaped and rescued her daughter.
She arranges to escape from him. She didn't just divorce him or say, hey, I'm kind of done. She had to actually escape.
She had to blindside Tom and the church by firing everyone working for her and building her own network of trusted friends, all the while love-bombing Tom so he wouldn't suspect a thing. She even had to use burner phones. After months and months of strategic secret planning, Katie's efforts were rewarded with a massive win, as the divorce was finalized in just 11 days and she got full custody plus a good deal of cash. But what led to such drastic measures? And what about the shocking clause in their divorce that forced Katie to date in secret for 5 years? And how bad was it for Suri to have dropped her estranged father's name? Let's uncover all the jaw-dropping details that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about their toxic relationship and the cultic church of Scientology. Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise met in April 2005, and their relationship progressed quickly. In fact, too quickly. Just 7 weeks after they started dating, they got engaged, and Tom famously jumped on Oprah's couch during an interview, proclaiming his love for Katie.
Katie once told 17 magazine, yes!
It seemed like a fairy tale romance, but some believed it was more calculated than fate. Rumors surfaced that Scientology had been responsible for actively searching for the perfect wife for Tom. Some ex-Scientologists have claimed that the church worked overtime searching for the most beautiful Scientologist, and Katie, an upcoming actress, happened to be the chosen one. You're probably wondering why a controversial church like Scientology would be the one responsible for choosing a wife for Tom Cruise. Well, the thing is, Tom Cruise is Scientology's most famous celebrity, and Tom happens to be a very close friend of David Miscavige, the current leader of the Church of Scientology. Because of his close relationship with David and his celebrity status, Scientology has made Tom Cruise their top priority. This is why the church was the one auditioning actresses to see who would be a fitting wife for Tom. Before Katie Holmes, another actress, Nazanin Boniadi, was the one initially selected to be Tom's wife. As Vanity Fair reported based on insider revelations, Nazanin was the top choice and was allegedly coerced into breaking up with her boyfriend and entering a highly monitored relationship with Cruise, who months later moved on with Katie Holmes. Katie and Tom's relationship was fast-paced, and they married in a lavish ceremony in Italy in November 2006. But behind the scenes, things were far from perfect. Reports began to emerge that Katie was being closely monitored and controlled by Scientology. Everything about her life, from her career choices to her personal relationships, was allegedly dictated by the church. But this is not surprising given Mark Headley's assessment of who the ideal wife for Tom has to be. Aaron also affirms this manipulative and controlling grip of the church by saying that,
so physically, literally speaking, Katie wasn't living on Scientology premises.
One significant aspect of Scientology that troubled Katie was its teachings on suppressing emotions. The church teaches its members to go to great lengths to control and suppress their emotions, which is not healthy. Katie didn't want Suri to experience this emotionally stifling environment, which added to her growing desire to break free. Katie's desire to break free from this control began to grow, especially after the birth of their daughter Suri in 2006. Katie wanted to give Suri a normal upbringing, away from the prying eyes and strict regulations of Scientology. The thought of her daughter being raised in such an environment was something Katie couldn't bear.
The reasons that she left was that she didn't want Suri to get involved with Scientology, and she was coming of an age where that was going to start happening.
But escaping wasn't going to be easy.
The actual part where she literally leaves seems to have been the easy part.
Katie orchestrated her escape with the precision of a military operation. Katie was reportedly being trailed by a Scientologist, often referred to as her handler, but known within the church as her auditor. This person, Jessica Feshbach, was always by Katie's side, monitoring her every move. As part of her escape plan, Katie had to fire her driver, and all these people whom Tom had hired for her, effectively cutting off the church's direct access to her. She also bought a house in New York and told Tom it was to get away from paparazzi. She then built her own network network of trusted friends who provided her with burner phones with which she contacted her New York-based divorce lawyers and friends. Her dad happens to be a high-profile divorce attorney who practices matrimonial law. All the while, Katie was using Scientology's tactics to blindside Tom and keep him from ever suspecting her. While executing all these plans, Katie was said to have been love-bombing Tom by telling him she loves him and all those words and actions of affection. By the time all of her plans had fallen into place, she simply waited for Tom to travel out and then call him. Tom was in Iceland at the time filming Oblivion. Katie, who had already moved to her New York apartment, simply called him with one of her burner phones she got and told him she was done. Tom admitted in an interview that he was so shocked by the news because he was just about to perform a stunt on a bike when he received the call and hadn't expected it. The months and months of planning just to get everything right was a testament to how desperately Katie wanted out. The speed with which the divorce was finalized and the secrecy shocked everyone. Even more shocking was that Katie Holmes won full custody of their daughter Suri and also $4.5 million in child support and $5 million for herself. But this victory didn't just come out of thin air. It was due to her diligent planning and the fact that her father was a good divorce attorney. By the time she filed for divorce, she already had a great head start, and neither Tom nor the church could refuse. But Aaron provides yet another juicy and way more scandalous reason why Katie won easily and why everything was finalized in just 11 days. Aaron believes that Katie must have gathered dirt on David Miscavige.
That means she had dirt. And not just dirt on Tom, dirt on David.
It makes sense that Tom could not dispute Katie's request for full custody of Suri if Katie indeed had dirt on David Miscavige. And given the amount of allegations against David and the church over the years, there's probably more than enough to bury him in the church. Many believe that Katie's escape was not just from Tom, but from the clutches of Scientology itself. The church is known for its controversial teachings and practices, and Katie didn't want Suri to be subjected to that. One of the most scandalous aspects of Scientology is its practice of disconnection, where members are encouraged to cut ties with anyone who is deemed a threat to the church. This practice has been widely criticized and has led to many heartbreaking stories of families being torn apart. There is also a Sea Org practice, where children are put on a boat for a 6-month voyage as chaperones to older Scientologists and then brainwashed. One Twitter user with intimate knowledge of Scientology tweeted, "They literally hold a 6-month-long sea cruise where their children are put on the boat with a bunch of adults as chaperones and give them those brainwashing classes." This was the main reason Katie Holmes divorced Tom Cruise, because he wanted to put Suri on the cruise. Katie's fears were not unfounded. There have been numerous allegations of control and manipulation within Scientology, with ex-members speaking out about the extreme measures taken to keep them in line. Just as close sources and ex-members have said, the church makes it incredibly difficult for anyone to leave, often employing tactics to intimidate and harass those who try to break free. Katie didn't want Suri to grow up in such an environment, and she was willing to do whatever it took to protect her daughter. This was why Chris Shelton and a host of other ex-Scientologists praised her for being able to escape and rescue her daughter from Scientology.
I really want to validate Katie for rescuing her daughter from Scientology.
One of the most heartbreaking rumors is that Tom Cruise has lost emotional attachment to Suri. Since the divorce, Tom has been notably absent from Suri's life, leading to speculation that he chose Scientology over his relationship with his daughter. This absence has only fueled the narrative that Katie's escape was as much about saving Suri as it was about saving herself. And then there's the curious case of Suri dropping Cruise from her name after she recently finished high school and might be heading to Carnegie Mellon University this September. She simply goes by Suri Noel now, but who can blame her since Tom Cruise seems to have chosen his career and the church over his only child?
It really is. It's one of the biggest stories that doesn't get enough coverage, that, you know, Tom Cruise has completely disowned his only biological child.
Despite Katie's hard-earned freedom, she still had some restrictions from the divorce agreement, which includes her never talking publicly about Tom or Scientology in any negative light. And she was also never to date anyone publicly until 5 years after the divorce. This was why Katie had to keep her relationship with Jamie Foxx a secret for years. These clauses were reportedly put in place to protect Tom's image and that of the church, and to keep the details of their split under wraps. Katie Holmes' daring escape from Tom Cruise and Scientology is a story that deserves to be a documentary, but the Church of Scientology would never allow that, as it would prove just how evil they are. Katie went to extraordinary lengths to protect herself and her daughter from a life of toxic control and manipulation by this occultic church. While the details of their relationship and divorce remain shrouded in mystery, one thing is clear: Katie's actions were driven by a fierce desire to give Suri a better future.